We're going to have Emily Wilson of Canfield Girls Lacrosse, and I know you two are pretty familiar with her because you've been calling games left and right. Let's talk to her. Future YSU Penguin, too. Emily, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I'm going to start it off. Recently, you just had your 100th career goal. I mean, what a record night that was for you. Just talk about that moment. I mean, your teammates came out, you had balloons, you had flowers, you had a T-shirt, you had everything that you wanted for the 100th career goal. So just talk about that moment and what it was like for you.
Yeah, my teammates, everything, they made it so special for me. Like, I wasn't expecting any of it. And for the timeout in the middle of the game for my coach to put the shirt on me, all the balloons and flowers and signs, it was crazy.
We see a lot of, 1,000-point scores and things that make teams stop the game for moments. But I never seen anyone kind of take it like you guys did. I mean, talk about the energy that came with scoring that 100th goal and what it was like to see your team just kind of swarm you and just, living up that moment with your teammates.
Like, after I scored, I had all these arms wrapped around me, and I wasn't expecting that. And then I was, like, dragged to the 50-yard line to see my coach, and then my whole family walked out on the field, and that was awesome.
Dragged is not an understatement either. I saw the replay. I mean, literally taken and dragged.
And I mean, what more special way than to do it on your senior night? It was such a special night. So many seniors got recognized on that team. Just talk about the culture of Canfield Girls Lacrosse right now. I mean, there's so many of you guys have come up through the ranks playing together. And I think that's really showing how good of a season you guys are having up to this date.
We're just one big family, and you can tell, like, the way we're playing this year is completely different than we've played in the past. We're playing like a family, and we're all playing together, which is great.
And I think that can really go back to last game as well. You guys had 8 different players that scored in that game. I mean, it was an offensive onslaught in the first half. You guys really did a good job of jumping on Boardman early. Mm-hmm. And then coming to tonight, you're playing a very good Stow team at home. It's a very big game. They're undefeated coming into the game. You've only lost one game. Just, are there any nerves coming into that game, or is it just excitement?
Honestly, both. I'm pretty nervous because, they are undefeated and we have one loss. But at the same time, I'm excited because I'm thinking back to the way we played last year when we played them, which we were down a player in the last 8 minutes of the game, and we pulled out a win. So I'm, hoping we can get the same results tonight.
It's nice to see a team from far away travel to you for a change. You guys have had to make a lot of road trips this season. Talk about what that's been like and traveling hour and a half away to play big teams. And I'm sure it builds team camaraderie, but it also has to be kind of fun to make those road trips worth it with wins.
Yeah, the week before spring break, we had 3 away games in a row, and they were all over an hour away, which was pretty exhausting. But on our bus rides, we all sit and listen to music and sing all together, so we have a lot of fun on our bus rides.
All right, so it's a bus ride karaoke. So what are the go-to karaoke songs for Canfield Girls Lacrosse?
Honestly, I'm the DJ, so I pretty much play what I want to listen to, but we play a lot of Lady Gaga and, Disney Channel songs.
Who's the best singer on the team?
Riley Kostelic, for sure.
It's a quick answer, too. You better prove it.
Yep.
Emily, when you look at the strength of schedule this year, you guys have played some really good teams, starting with Kenston, which you tied all the way back in March. I mean, you go down the schedule, Bay Village, some teams that have a lot of history in their lacrosse programs. For you guys kind of just starting up, it's a newer program at Canfield. Just talk about, how you guys were brought up into the system and, how this team really matured over the last couple of years now that you're in your senior season.
So my freshman season, a lot of teams did not want to play us because, they're the new team. They're not going to play as good as we thought, you were thinking. And then when we made it far enough in playoffs, our sophomore season, which was canceled, but we had so many different teams that wanted to play us. And so that carried on to junior year where we won a lot of our games. So this year, a lot of those tougher teams were wanting to play us.
And now you look across the world of lacrosse and more teams around the area are starting to get teams and starting to build programs. As someone that has poured so much into the sport yourself, what's it mean to you to see the growth of the sport in the area and to know maybe in 5 or 10 years, you'll look around and you'll see even more teams have lacrosse programs in Youngstown?
Honestly, it means a lot because now, it started here in Canfield, it started in Mooney or Cardinal Mooney, but it grew to Canfield, grew to Boardman, grew to Poland. And I'm excited to see that it's trying to grow to other schools like Austintown, Howland, and maybe like Struthers maybe in the future.
So, Emily, you're a Youngstown State commit, and of course, I'm sure you've been paying close attention to how good of a season the Penguins have had this year, going 2-7 last year in their first ever year at the program. Then they turn around this year, go 8-2 in conference play, win a share of the Mid-American Conference title. And I know Coach Walton was at the game on Monday on senior night, so she was there to see your special moment for that 100th goal. Just what makes you the most excited, I would say, to move on and play for Youngstown State next year?
The most exciting part is that I'm going to be staying at home. So my family's going to be able to come, and like to be the first local player to play at that school, it just means a lot.
And that's another team that, just like you guys, they have a lot of team chemistry, a lot of team bonding activities that go on during the offseason. Have you been able to meet any of those players yet? And if so, just what's it been like talking to them?
Well, when I went on my visit, I met a lot of the girls, and they were all just so nice to me and already adding me to their family, which meant a lot. And when we played Hoover on Saturday, Jordan was there. So I got to see her and talk to her after the game.
When now that we're on the topic, when you were doing the recruiting process and you were trying to make your decision, what kind of things made YSU the one that you kind of went with and the one that you wanted to keep as your new home?
Definitely that it was close to home, and that Coach Walton, Coach Clarkson, and Coach Taylor were making it like very like clear that I was going to be a big part of their team and a big part of their family, which was nice.
So now that you're going to Youngstown State, of course you're an athlete, but you're also going to be a student as well. So what are you looking forward to, and what are you going to study in college?
I'm going to be studying accounting, and I'm excited to be able to put my time into the classroom and on the field at YSU.
Talk about your pregame routine and some of the things that you like to do to get mentally prepared for a big game.
Got to take a nap before, And before games, I always have Allie braid my hair, and it has to be braided the same way every game. And then I have to wear my yellow headband.
Have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now that's nice for us. I mean, when we're up in the booth, we know who you are. Because, you got the yellow headband on. So, just talk about where that came from. Is that something you've always done? And, does that separate you from your sister? Is that kind of why you do that?
Yeah, but, you can kind of tell us apart anyway because I'm like 6 inches taller than her. My dad bought it for me when I was first starting out, and I've worn it ever since.
All right. The shade has been thrown with that statement. So let's talk about the dynamic of having her on the team and what it's kind of been like to share all these moments with your sister.
Oh, that's meant so much to me. And to know, we've grown the sport together. We've played everywhere together. We've traveled the country together playing. And just knowing that this is our last season together.
You get lost a lot.
Yeah.
And just talking about your sister, Allie, you, of course, have the accolades, but it just seems like she's so supportive across the way. And Coach Guerrero was even telling me after the game that she's so special to the team too, because she doesn't score all the goals, but she assists on so many of them. Just talk about the bond between you two and just how special it's been for both of you to now be able to go play at the next level.
It means a lot that we're both going to be playing at the next level. And for Allie on the field, Allie is the best player on our field, and I know that. And it means so much to me that she is everywhere, getting all those interceptions, all the draw controls, ground balls, everything.
Lacrosse is a sport that's gaining traction, so there are a lot of people trying to get into it, casual fans. What do you think is the most common misconception that people have when they're trying to learn about lacrosse that you've had to answer or get annoyed with, like, oh, this question or this misconception? What do you want to kind of straighten out in the public's eyes about lacrosse?
I feel like a lot of people think that it's not an aggressive contact sport, which it's the complete opposite of that.
I think it was you that got hit by the lacrosse ball the other night, right on the shin or the thigh. So, kind of talk about that. That can't feel good. Once you get hit, you guys don't have as much padding as like the college level. So just talk about that. It is a contact sport, and it's going to sting when you get hit by a lacrosse ball.
Honestly, I wasn't really expecting that at all. And for that one hit, I'm like praising Carly because Carly does that every single day.
Yeah, and just talking about Carly, just in goal, she's been almost automatic in the net for you guys this season. She's such a good goalkeeper, and I think that she really adds a great look to the team this season. Just talk about all around. I mean, from the attack to the midfield to the defense to the goalie, you guys are talented all around. Just talk about what it's like during practice. I'm sure the practices are real intense because so many players on the team are so good.
Yeah, practices, we run a lot at practice. And then when we go to run our plays, everyone's all over the field playing aggressive, and our practices are great.
And then going back to that Hoover game on Saturday, something that, of course, you guys didn't come out the way you wanted to, but we go towards the end of the fourth quarter, Hoover goes up and then they win that draw control. And I'm sure that had to be frustrating for you guys because they kind of held the ball for like 5-6 minutes down on your end. Is there anything that Coach Guerreri kind of does to prepare you guys for scenarios like that? Because you guys stayed composed, you didn't give up, you forced the ball out of the stick, and you ended up tying the game. Or is that just something that kind of happened? Is that something that you guys practice?
We practice scenarios like that at practice, but normally, we weren't expecting that one to happen.
While we're talking about Coach Guerreri, what do you think is the biggest lesson that she's taught you throughout your journey in Canfield lacrosse?
It's just play the way you play as a teammate, and you're playing in a family. Just keep your composure and play your game.
Now the playoffs are coming up. Of course, you got a good stretch coming up with Stow tonight, and then you take on a team like Menor and Hudson to kind of polish off the skills before playoff time. But your senior season, a chance to make a state run. How excited are you, and how excited is your team to make this push towards the state championship?
I am extremely excited because of all the years I've played on the varsity team. I know that this year is the year that we can make it as far as we can. And I know as a team, we're all extremely excited for, even though it's our senior year. So it just makes it even better.
When you look at some of the things that you've done with this team, and I'm sure a lot of moments that you've had with this team, what are your favorite memories off the field with these girls that you've kind of been able to acquire?
The best memories are just when we're together. On Friday night, right before the Hoover game, the varsity team all went to Coach Guerreri's house, and we had a nice bonfire. We were watching the Syracuse and Virginia game. And then just sleepovers, team bonding dinner. Whenever we got to dinner, that's fun, but everything together.
And of course, just like we were talking about earlier, coming into this big game against Stow tonight, is there anything that you guys kind of do different coming into each game, or at the game of lacrosse, you guys kind of have the same game plan coming into to every game? Is there a lot of film you watch, or is it just kind of you just come in with your own game every time?
I mean, tonight especially, we watched film on the team we were playing. We watched Hoover versus Stow, which that helped prepare us tonight. But normally we just go into the same game plan, get the draw control, settle the offense, and then go.
All right, Emily, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to shout out your support system, the people that are always there for you, and the people that, you probably wouldn't be where you are in your journey without.
I wouldn't be anywhere without my parents. They put the time and money in to let me travel the country to play lacrosse and give me the opportunities that I have. Big shout out to all three of my coaches, Coach Guerreri, Coach S, and Coach Ashlyn, for making me the player that I am. And then a huge thank you to Allie, because, wouldn't be here without her.
All right, Emily, thank you so much for the time. We love covering you guys. We'll be at the call tonight, and we look forward to continued success and talking to you again real soon.
All right. Thank you, guys.